Hey, Jonathan Carl here. Welcome to Lecture 20 on spiritual warfare in the Bible. Just a couple more to go. Lectures, if this is your first one to watch, I just encourage you. There's a lot of great content beforehand. But we're going through this book, Spiritual Warfare in the Bible. You can download it for free at spiritualwarfare.blog in a PDF form, or you can get the book on Amazon. It's about 600 pages. Priced as cheap as Amazon would let me, but I think you'd find a lot of helpful resources. You know, if I had to summarize spiritual warfare in one book, not this one, a Bible book, not this thick, but a smaller one, a Bible book, I would tell you to check out the book of Ephesians. And you might be familiar with it. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But let me just give you a brief overview of Ephesians and why I think it's helpful to see and understand spiritual warfare. First and foremost, it starts with God, knowing who we belong to, Father, Son, Spirit. Remember how we started this whole study off in the first lecture? We are looking at God, His names, His works, His miracles, and His character. And we need to know that. Remember who we belong to. You know, sometimes our problems in life, our enemies in life seem so big because we're having a small view of God. So when we zoom in on the greatness and goodness of God, our enemies will look a lot smaller than they are. We also see that our God is blessed and He's blessing us, that we are beloved in Him. And you just start to understand that the God of the universe cares for us, loves us, blesses us, and He is sovereign. He knows everything. He's over everything. He is all powerful. He's everywhere. He's eternal. And we just see the greatness of our good God as we start out the book of Ephesians. And so we continue with that. Describes Him, He's far above all rule, all authority, all power, all dominion, any demon, Satan himself. God is far greater than all of them. He's above every single name that is named forever. All things are under His feet. He is the head over all things. He leads us. He leads this church as the head. And so we see this as we are part of God's will. We're called saints. He makes us holy ones. He calls the believers in Ephesus saints. We're set apart. We're called to be faithful, to follow Him. We're given grace and peace. We are blessed. All these wonderful truths about who we are, that we're chosen and set aside for holiness, that we've been lovingly and purposefully adopted, that we've been set free and we've been forgiven, that we are infinitely rich and that we are secure in His love. And then we need to see the battle. And we see this by looking at our past, understanding we once followed the evil one, but God intervened. God saved us. And we read that in Ephesians 2 about the power and beauty of His loving intervention. And we're called to a purpose in Him. We're called to rest in Him, enjoy Him, and make Him known that we've been united with Christ and given His peace. And so we need to be purposed and prepared, right? This is a battle. We are called to be gospel light in the midst of a dark world. He wants to and offers to strengthen us, and He empowers us in His love. So much to see here about our purpose and preparation in spiritual warfare. So we go out, we engage the enemy. How do we do that? Well, the next 3 chapters tell us how to do that. Ephesians 4 starts out, tells us we do that through our church family. We do that in a changed and maturing life. We do that in our marriage. You ever wonder why marriage can be so hard? It's because Satan comes against it, because he realizes what a bright light it can be. Same thing in your family. Parenting can be tough. Satan comes against it. Satan tries to make it harder because he doesn't want our light to shine. Work can be another difficult environment, but it's one of those opportunities we have to shine God's love brightly, and we move out against the enemy. We're armed and armored for battle. And so we see this Ephesians 6:10 through 20 tells us a little bit more about that battle. As we come against the enemy, we're called to stand against his schemes, that what we wrestle against is not flesh and blood. A lot of times our struggles in life look like we're wrestling with people, but it's more than that. It's against the rulers, the authorities, the cosmic powers over this present darkness. We are wrestling with Satan and his demons, the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. So we're called to put on the full armor of God in His strength, the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, shoes made ready by the gospel of peace. We're called to pick up the shield of faith, which extinguishes the flaming darts of the evil one, to put on the helmet of salvation, to pick up the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, to be praying at all times in the Spirit, and that we might boldly proclaim the mystery of the gospel, and that we are personally invested in this disciple-making process. Now, that was a lot really quick, wasn't it? Well, I encourage you to spend more time in the book of Ephesians and to see what a great summary it is of spiritual warfare. It'll give you a little snapshot and picture of what the whole Bible tells us about spiritual warfare. Thanks so much.